fantastic. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Laura. And thanks for everyone who's on here. I saw a couple of friends. Hey, Ms. Nikki and Ms. Deborah. Couple of things before we get started. First of all, you're attending a free SCORE webinar, but there are so many other opportunities that you can take advantage of through SCORE. So make sure that you check out your local SCORE office. Check out all that they have to offer, get in touch with a mentor, use all of the tools that are in the toolbox there. It is fantastic. What an awesome organization. I'm always so humbled and thrilled that they invite me to help with their social media webinars. So thank you for that. And as Laura shared with you, she will be taking questions. She can see them, but I cannot. I can see the little numbers, but I can't see the questions. So she's always nice enough to stop me. You don't have to wait until the end and save your questions. If you do, what's going to happen is you'll forget one and you'll remember it 20 minutes after we're off the webinar. That's okay, because you do get a copy of the webinar. It has my email information in there, my text info, so you can just shoot me a quick email with a question. I'm happy to answer those. Calling me is almost an exercise in futility. I almost don't use the phone for what it's intended. So if you email or text, I will be sure and get back with you as soon as I can with any answers that I've got, or if I have to look it up, I will let you know that. Okay. All right. So today we're going to learn about using Facebook for your business. And what I like to do with every webinar that I'm a part of is make sure that we have our expectation level set where it should be, right? So we're going to talk about what social media isn't, what you're not going to use this tool for, right? There's many, many reasons to use social media. I do tell people, if you're not familiar with what social media is actually designed for, it is nothing but arrows pointing to your website. That is it. Everything else, every other benefit that social media offers is ancillary, right? Sometimes you will put up a post and someone will say, yep, I need that product or service, and they will buy right away. It is not designed to do that. We are lucky as business owners when that happens. So consider that a gimme, right? It is not designed to do that. All it is designed to do is to get people to your website. And why is that important? I promise you, if you are on Facebook, at least one and probably all of your competitors are on the same site, right? If I search for, I'm going to use my friend Nikki because I know she's got a awesome local business. If I'm searching for henna tattoo art, I am guessing there's more than one person on Facebook that offers this, even within our same geography. So what we want to do is make sure we're using our social media to get people to our websites, because I promise you, as a social media specialist, I'm not advertising for other social media people on my website. So if you guys choose to make a buying decision, guess what? If you're on my website, you're going to make that buying decision from me. So this is what we're trying to do. Get people to that website so that when they are ready to make that all-important buying decision, they're purchasing from us, right? So let's talk about what social media is not. It's not free. Now, I will tell you today, everything that we talk about is not paid social media, but I promise you, if you are doing social media or any other marketing for your organization, you are either spending time or you are spending money. And it seems like, at least for me, as I was starting my business, that's when I had more time, was when I was first starting it. And the busier and busier we get, that means added revenue. And sometimes we can take some of those monies and actually hire someone to do all of our marketing for us. But either way, just know social media may not cost you dollars, but if it doesn't, it will cost you time and planning. Next, social media is not a flash in the pan. All of these platforms that, the big four, I say Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Google, are all at least 20 years old. They're not going anywhere. I promise you this, all of them will change, and they will change tomorrow. And guess what? They don't contact us to get our opinion. They change the platforms as they see fit, which is another reason why our websites are so important, right? No one changes those without our say. We're the ones in charge of that. If Mark Zuckerberg decides to change everything on Facebook tomorrow, my presentation and my Facebook could be absolutely obsolete. So just remember, they're not going anywhere, but they will change. Social media is not a replacement for your sales team. Even if your sales team is like me, it's you as the business owner, right? We still have to be out there shaking the hands, kissing the babies, doing the networking, sponsorships. Some of us still do print advertising, direct mail. We have to do all of the things still, right? It is not going to replace any kind of in-person sales that we do for our business. And that's a beautiful thing, right? People still want to connect with people. And yes, our brand can be awesome on Facebook, but it will never be the same as actually sitting across from someone and shaking their hand, whether it be at a local chamber event. If you are not a member of your local chamber, I would suggest that you check that out. Chambers of Commerce are fantastic. It could be a network specific group. It could be an industry specific group. It'll never replace you talking with people and doing sales in real life. And finally, as much as it pains me to share this one, social media will never be your entire marketing strategy. And what does that mean? It means we still have those sponsorship opportunities. I know a lot of us have sponsored, little league teams. We will sponsor an upcoming event to help get our name out there. We will do print advertising if we have an upcoming event. Whatever that looks like, social media is just a cog in the wheel of all of the marketing that we still need to do for our business. Now, for some of us, being a social media specialist and someone who works in the digital field, I don't do a lot of print advertising, but when I do it mindfully. So take a look at all of the advertising opportunities available to you. I have an offer at the end of the webinar where we can actually have a virtual coffee and talk through it for like 30 minutes for free. So if you want to talk strategy, what platforms should you be on, that kind of thing, honestly, you can reach out to me via email and we can find a time where we can actually book a one-on-one, virtual coffee. So just a heads up there. Now, just a few Facebook facts. We're going to go over these just real quick. Facebook is still the most widely used social media platform. 3.05 billion monthly active users. Do you think maybe some of your prospective clients are on there? They absolutely are. This is staggering. 68.6 of monthly Facebook users are active every single day. I'm one of them. I mean, mine is also Hazard of the Job, but I do a lot of personal connections on Facebook as well, right? That's where you'll see me, giving a shout out to my son for his birthday or talking about, something fun I did over the weekend. It's not just business for me. So I would be part of that 68.6 that is on there every single day. Most importantly for us, there are more than 200 million small businesses around the world using Facebook pages. And as we talked about, our competitors are on there. So when we're doing posts on Facebook, there needs to be a meaningful and structured plan behind all of our posting, right? It's not, I'm just going to sit down and throw some spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. We need to be doing what will make us work smarter, not harder. And we need to take a look at what are we actually doing for our business on Facebook. Facebook is the third most visited website in the world. Number one is Google. We actually have an upcoming program. I believe it is in August on your Google business profile. Number two would be YouTube. And number two on YouTube is the second most visited because Google owns YouTube. So it plays nice with that platform. Facebook would be third. So taking a peek at all three of those, we don't want to leave money on the table, right? We should probably be active on, the world's most active websites. 19% of US consumers start their shopping search on Facebook. That floors me. But then I need to remember that probably the rest of them are on Google, right? Google still has 92% market share when it comes to search. But Facebook, we all get the ads, right? With a name like Glitter Girl Media, if you don't think that I get every single glittery pen, glittery tire wall, paint, anything with glitter winds up in my feed. So yeah, a lot of our consumer decisions start there because they pump them in. If you guys haven't noticed yet, if you look at your feed, every fourth post in your feed is an advertisement, and sometimes it's more than that. So just a heads up, they are surreptitiously putting those ads in our way so that we go, oh yeah, I do need that. I don't know, I clicked on a thing for stretchy denim capris the other day. Honestly, I cannot scroll without seeing denim capris. I should have known better. It's what I do for a living, but sometimes I still fall into the trap, right? So just be mindful. Lots of people start there. And more than 80% of people access Facebook on their phones. And why is that important? Because we're not sitting at home at 7 o'clock at night deciding to jump on our laptop. We are on our phones all day. So there is an opportunity to be making contact with your prospective clients at every hour of every day. So just a heads up there. Now, what does a Facebook post look like? Here you can see who posted it, you can see when they posted it, but what's more important to me as a business owner is taking a look at my engagement. And I'm sorry, this is like the worst graphic ever, and I don't usually use ones that are that, I need to make one. I need to quit being lazy, and we're going to talk about a tool later that I can make my own, but I had this one ready. But I always look at my engagement. I won't even necessarily look at my Facebook analytics because to me, this is the only analytic that matters to me. This and actually reading the comments and seeing who's sharing. That's what's important to me as a business owner. So I'm very mindful of that. So let's talk about your business Facebook page. You need to have a professionally done header for your Facebook page, right? You don't want to leave it blank. We know what we think when we see one, businesses that have either a header that's sized incorrectly, that's not clear. We want to make sure that it's something that is professional looking. You also want to have a very nice looking avatar here. So make sure that you use a logo, whatever, an example of your work product, whatever, it could be. I always suggest having your logo because we're building brand, right? A contact us button that will come directly to you when someone clicks on it. That's huge, right? Why would we have a page if we don't want to give people an opportunity to connect with us, right? Also, make sure your name is spelled correctly. I know that seems like it should go without saying. I promise you, I tell you this because I have dealt with several companies that have their name spelled incorrectly. So if people are searching, the chances of them getting found are slim to none, right? Make sure you use almost every single character that is available to you for your intro section, because this too helps Google find our pages. If somebody is looking for business networking, our group is going to show up there because it says networking and professional development organization right in the group. This is a local nonprofit women's group that I'm a part of. And we want to make sure that our intro talks about exactly what we have to offer. Again, want to make sure there's a way for people to contact us here. Make sure that we've got a working email that we actually check as our contact on our business page. And make sure your website's on there. That's huge. I will tell you, when I post, I don't always put our website in there because maybe I'm linking to an event. Maybe I'm doing a showcase for another business. But I always know if someone comes across our page, they can always click on this and go directly to our website. No, we already did that one. Sorry about that. Building your followers on Facebook. It is great that we're putting together content, and we'll talk about that. But if we don't have followers, our feeds will actually be that tree that fell in the forest that nobody heard, right? And we don't want that. We don't want to be the best kept secret on Facebook. So how do we build our followers? Invite people to like your page. Invite them, right? Invite your family, your friends, your kids' contacts, church friends, fellow business owners for sure, because they understand the importance of it. These people are the low-hanging fruit, right? If you go on, you can actually invite up to 100 of your personal connections to follow your business page all at one time. Just make sure that every one of those people in that 1,000 are people you actually want to have follow your page, right? Are you going to invite a competitor to follow your page? I do. Doesn't bother me, right? I will know if they're, borrowing things from my page. I will always know that. But be mindful of who you invite to like your page, because you want it to actually be people who will hopefully be active, be supportive, that kind of thing, right? Here's another quick tip. You can use Facebook Live, but use it correctly. And I give this caveat because I have seen more people lose followers using Facebook Live than they have ever gained. And I'm going to give you an example. So before I say that, never ever start a Facebook Live just for the sake of going live. And worse yet, never do it because somebody said you should. They talk a lot, don't they? People always say, you need to, you should, I heard somewhere that, right? make sure you have a compelling reason to engage your Facebook followers with a live. And I'm going to tell you the example. I am a direct sales fan. That means those companies out there like the Mary Kay's, the Scout and Seller, the direct sales, Melaleuca, those kinds of companies. I'm a huge fan. I have worked for several of them in my former career. However, people that train the consultants or reps for those companies don't necessarily understand marketing 100%, and they surely do not specialize in social media. I happen to know that one of these companies was given the directive to go live on Facebook for 30 days in a row. I don't know about you guys. I don't know any organization or person that is interesting enough to go live on Facebook 30 days in a row. It became a joke, right? It's kind of like back in the day when there was a special section in, print newspapers. It wouldn't be special if we had it every day, right? It was because it only happened every so often. So it is 100% acceptable to do a Facebook Live. Just make sure it's not constant and commercially, right? We all remember this scene out of A Christmas Story, right? He's so excited to get that, little Annie secret decoder pin in the mail, and he waits forever, and he locks himself in the bathroom, and that brother Randy is making him nuts, and he's just trying to get what this wonderful message is. And it turns out to be a crummy commercial, and we remember what he says, right? We all feel like that. None of us want to be sold to. We don't mind buying, but we don't want to be sold to every time we hop on someone's Facebook page. And I'm going to tell you another secret. As business owners, we don't have the right to constantly be selling on our Facebook page. I know that sounds counterintuitive to a lot of you because that's what we have Facebook for. Yes, we do. But the secret is we need to be a resource for the people who follow us. And being a resource is not always sticking our hand out and asking for a sale, right? So absolutely use Facebook Live, but please use it correctly so that it will build your business and not cost you business. Other opportunities to build your Facebook page. Put your Facebook button on your website. You would be amazed at how many people's websites I've gone to that they don't have their social buttons on their page. It floors me. Put your Facebook on your business cards. So many of us have a blank back on our cards. Why wouldn't we just put our social platforms there? That's a great use of that space, right? Listed in your email signature. Now I actually do more business because I am a B2B business, which means I'm business to business sales as opposed to business to consumer. I have my LinkedIn profile in my email signature. But if you are B2C, which is business to consumer, putting your Facebook link in your email signature is completely cost effective because it doesn't cost you anything other than the time to list it in your email signature. And 2, makes it super simple for people to click through and follow, right? That's awesome. Add it on the bottom of your letterhead if you're still doing letterhead. Why not? The space is ours, right? We could do a little line of all of our social platforms across the bottom and it would be attractive and super effective. Put signage at your POS or your cash wrap. Hey, don't forget to follow us on Facebook. You could do a page and also say, if you've used our services, love our product, leave us a Google review. You could do a whole sign just in a clear plexi, super easy, not even super costly. Invite all of your email subscribers. If you use a platform like a MailChimp or a Constant Contact, make sure you're using those plugins where people can go directly to your page from every email you send. But honestly, put together an email specific to, hey, don't forget to follow us. For our women's group, we actually have a private Facebook group that people can belong to if they're a member. Well, I always put an email out to our members saying, hey, did you remember to join? Because we do a lot of, talking and referring in that group. So I always make sure that once a year I send out a, hey, if you're not following us in our Facebook group, make sure you come and be a part of that. Post on your receipts. Oops, sorry about that, guys. Post on your receipts. We're handing them to the client anyway, right? Post on your custom receipts on the bottom, on the back, whatever that looks like, what your platforms are. But the biggest secret to building your Facebook page is to concentrate on the content on there, because there's no sense in gathering all these people and then not delivering a message that will keep them as followers on our page, right? We don't want to waste time. We want to work smarter, okay? So we want to give them the content that they crave. what is that content, right? We want to do things that are creative, that are relevant, that are attractive. And I don't mean pretty necessarily, I mean attractive like a magnet attracts, valuable to the reader, and engaging, right? Social media should be social. That's why it's called that. It is not us constantly having a stream of information that we vomit on our followers. It's trying to have a conversation with them, to have them interact with our brand. So we're going to break these down one by one. So being creative says you either, to be successful in business, you either have to be first, best, or different. And the wise sage Loretta Lynn said that, right? So chances are for most of us, unless we are absolutely trailblazing, we are not going to be the first person who has ever done what we do. Sometimes I do run into that, but most times, let's say we're a realtor or we are an insurance agent. We're never going to be the first one. That happened, decades and years ago, right? Best is 100% objective. I'm telling you right now, you guys probably know other social media professionals. I promise you, my mom thinks I'm the best. Doesn't matter what you think, my mom thinks I'm the best. That's why it's subjective, right? We can always be different. And that's why it's important to be creative. I don't want to post the same kinds of content that my competitors are. I want to offer something new, creative, and exciting, right? So let's talk about that. What kinds of posts can do that? Sorry, I'm having to move this top bar around because it's right in my way. So I apologize. I'm going to minimize some stuff here. Funny posts. If anybody out there follows Schitt's Creek, we all remember the coasters, right? Tweet us on Facebook. This was just an invitation from a client. Hey, come follow us on LinkedIn, right? But we got to use Eugene Levy, and what's more fun than Eugene Levy? Nothing at all. I just love him. So the tweet us on Facebook was awesome. Okay. This was actually from back during COVID, and Harps and Thistles, which is a shop that's local here in Cuyahoga Falls, we couldn't have people walk into our retail establishments, right? So she got really creative and sold spring sunshine boxes that were mailed out from her location. That she could do. And it was an awesome program. So that's why I always like to give her a shout out. Plus, I don't know anyone else who owns a yarn and gift emporium. So hello, Cindy. And this was one that I did for a client that got tons of interaction. Let's get this week kicked off right. If all the Disney princesses were competing in a steel cage match, which is just fun to think about, which one would win and why? And if you don't know, it would come down to Belle and Mulan, and I'm putting my money on Belle because she's the smart one. But there was a lot of interaction because everybody had an opinion on which Disney princess would kill it, right? So just a heads up to be funny, enterprising, interactive, anything that will set you apart from your competitors, right? Being relevant. It's much harder to be relevant than it is to be successful. I'm sure we all know people who have been successful but aren't necessarily relevant. And I hate to be that mean girl, but does anybody know what contributions Paris Hilton has made? I don't know that I would have ever called her relevant, but she was definitely successful, right? And who said this quote? Bono. Still relevant after what, 30 years in music? I'm not a huge U2 fan, but I love the quote. So thank you, Bono. So what kinds of content can be relevant, right? This meme that we did for the Fairlawn Area Chamber was the most populous, liked, shared, commented on post we did that year because it's when Bernie was out in his gloves and we put him right in the middle, smack dab in the middle of a Fairlawn Area Chamber luncheon. It was timely, right? It was right when that all happened. People resonated with it. It was fantastic. Life events. One of my clients pivoted and started doing COVID-19 testing when you couldn't get COVID-19 tests. It was a life event. It got great traction for him because he was offering a product that you could not get hands on. So it was awesome. And then social responsibility. I don't know anyone in the world who can rally against recycling, right? So we can post things that are socially responsible as well. And these are all relevant topics. Be attractive. Goals are like magnets. They attract the things that make them come true, said by Mr. Tony Robbins. Very motivational speaker, right? So we're going to start and talk about a little bit of what not to do, right? Don't use vertically oriented pics on Facebook. You better be doing reels because Facebook is more horizontally oriented. Or me personally, I want a graphic that I make to fit on every platform because I have zero intention of resizing that piece of art for 8 different platforms. I'm not doing it. Smarter, not harder, remember? I make everything 1080 by 1080 pixels and it will fit on every platform, even with Instagram's recent change. It will fit on LinkedIn, it will fit on my Google business profile, it'll fit on everything. So just a heads up there. Don't use grainy or fuzzy images. I'm going to show you a tool if you're not already using it, where you can make some of the best graphics in the world, and it's absolutely simple and very user-friendly. I implore you to hop on this bandwagon. Third, don't use pre-made memes with typos, because guess what? I don't know it's a pre-made meme, and I assume you are the one making the typo if you're the one that puts it up. Do you know how many cute little things that I've seen that I wanted to post or share that I won't because they have a typo or something's wrong with it? I just won't do it because that's still reflective of my brand, right? It's on my page. I won't use it. I will create something and make sure there are no typos. And this is a biggie. Do not use graphics with branding or websites if you are not familiar with what those websites are. I ran into an issue with a client who had shared something that they didn't realize what the click-through was for this website. They are a, let's say, very conservative organization, and it went right to a marijuana and paraphernalia site. Was not reflective of their brand, right? It flew right in the face of their corporate mindset. So I always tell everybody, before you repost something, if there is a website or a handle there, better go check it out before you associate your brand with it. Because once you put it out there, it's much like putting toothpaste back in the tube, right? You can erase it, but I promise you, internet ink is forever. So just be super careful. Do we have any questions, Laura? I saw numbers climb a little bit. I just want to make sure we're good.
Yeah, we do have a couple questions.
Okay, perfect.
Actually just one. Does the contact us button on Facebook go to Messenger or could it go to a text?
I don't think it can go to text. I have mine set to go to email. Could go to Messenger as well. I don't think it can go directly to a text. But you can check it out. There'll be a drop down there and you can see exactly where you can send it or have people, go to it. Email's easiest for me because it's coming to my phone just as quickly as a text. So that's the one I opt for.
Oh, and then somebody asked if we'll get the slides or the recording or both. Yes, you will get both. And an email from me later today or tomorrow morning. All right,
Perfect.
I
We
think
caught
I'm
up?
caught up. Yep.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. So now we talk about being valuable. Try not to be a person of success, but rather try to be a person of value. Very similar to the relevant, right? And the wise sage that said that is Albert Einstein. And I'm pretty sure we know he knew some stuff, right? So let's model after that. What kinds of content can be valuable? Well, this one was definitely beneficial. This again was during COVID, and SCORE was nice enough to tell us about some loans that were available to small businesses during a time where everybody, or not even loans, sorry, excuse me, grants that were available during a time where we needed them, right? A lot of us were, stagnant because of, life events. This was super beneficial to anyone who qualified for it, right? Very similar also, Copley Township, which is a local municipality here, talked about scholarship programs for residents, right? That's a great opportunity and very profitable for the people who would qualify for that. So that was a great share. And then people try to be helpful, right? A size guide. If you don't know what size, if you're only doing one platform, you can size specifically to that platform. Now, again, we have a tool that will size that 100% correctly for you that I'm going to show you later. But if you needed the list, I provided it absolutely free because guess what? Not everyone is my prospective client, right? Not everyone has the wherewithal to hire a social media manager for all their stuff. And that's fine. I'm here to help even when people just need a little bit of a leg up to do their social media even better. Because guess what? If I'm connected with somebody and they have a lot of followers, hopefully those people will take a peek at my stuff too. So the more I can help any small business, get more eyes on their brand, hopefully it helps all of us, right? Be engaging. And this is a huge deal, and we'll talk about this too. Build a brand and they will come, or excuse me, build it and they will come only works in the movies. Social media is a build it, nurture it, engage them, and they may come and stay. May. Even after doing all of that, it's only may, not will, right? And that was said by Seth Godin, who also knows just a little bit about marketing and obviously cool glasses. Engaging giveaways are fantastic. Here's the caveat. Every platform has a different set of policies about giveaways on their platform. So just make sure that you're searching and diving deep to find out what those policies are so that you don't get in trouble, and nobody wants to wind up in Facebook jail, right? So just a heads up there. Ask questions. You should be seeking input from your followers. And these are the people that are your raving fans and stormtroopers out in the streets to people who just started following you. All of their feedback, excuse me, hiccups, is super important to your brand. You need to know what kinds of things resonate with them. What are they actually paying attention to? How can you catch an eye, right? If you could hack into any one computer, whose would it be? That's a super fun question that got a lot of play, right? People want to know, all right, if I could get into anyone's computer, you better believe it's this one. Get a lot of feedback. Here's the secret. You don't have to care what the answer is. And I'm not saying that to be that kind of a way. What's important to us as an organization is not what they answer, but that they answer. Because no matter what they put, if this is on our Facebook page and it's open to the public, which yours should be, their entire network will see their answer. Right? We don't care what they answered unless it's something inappropriate, and then we can curtail that and take it down. If it's appropriate, all we care that happens is that their entire network now sees our post and maybe they want to interact. So their entire network posts, right? So just a heads up there. By the way, do not ever keep yourself from posting because you are afraid no one will answer. I have seen many, many people who get that analysis paralysis and are just afraid. Well, what if nobody answers? Okay, what if they don't? Not a big deal, right? On to the next post. I promise you, no one tomorrow is going to remember A, that anyone answered or didn't, or B, what the answers were or who said them. It doesn't work like that. That's why I have people that, sometimes are like, I don't know, can we post that again? We posted it 3 months ago. If it's important to your brand, I promise you, I love you and your brand. Nobody remembers what you posted 3 months ago. Nobody, right? So it is absolutely fine for you to repeat content so long as it is valuable or important to your brand. And events. That is an awesome way to show that A, you're involved in the local community or whatever community you're posting events for. And B, if you are the one delivering the info or the person who's putting on the event, that lets folks know that you know something, right? And one of the goals with social media should always be to establish ourselves as the professional in our field, right? We want to be known, I want to be the social media gal, right? It's imperative that we're putting this kind of interactive stuff out so that we get those followers and keep them. Get this question all the time because I do put hashtags in a lot of my posts. What is a hashtag? I'm going to give you the explanation and then I'm going to actually go a little bit deeper because I had to explain this to my turning 70-year-old mother this year. Hashtags connect social media content to a specific topic, event, theme, or conversation. What they are file folders, right? Every post that I use the hashtag Glitter Girl Media in are indexed in one spot. So I can access every single post that has ever used that particular hashtag. And I'll give you an example. This is a big hashtag, right? 364,000 people are posting about this. I guarantee you it's probably doubled since I actually pulled this. But could I go and search all of them? I could. I'm not gonna. I will say you don't need to use a ton. This particular one has a lot because it was specific to sizing on social media. The sweet spot on Facebook and any other platform is 5 to 8, right? You can do up to 30. I'm giving you permission to never, ever, ever use 30 hashtags. It can look cumbersome, right? So just a heads up there too. Why use hashtags? What are they good for? It will help you gain followers. If people are searching social media marketing and they see my content, they're going to assume this is something that I write about sometimes or that I know about. I might be able to gain followers that way. Increase your engagement. More eyes on your posts means more opportunity for someone to like, share, or comment, right? Show support for social issues. And the example that I always give, there are a few, but how about hashtag me too, hashtag thin blue line, hashtag pride. You can show your support for local social issues just by using a hashtag. Add context to a post. And if anybody's been on any of my webinars before, this is my silly but accurate description of that. One Monday morning, and we know how rough they are, right? I was walking through my house, tripped over absolutely nothing on the floor, and spilled my coffee all over the floor. So I thought, well, it's an opportunity, and picture it didn't happen. I took a picture of the coffee on the floor and said, hooray, it's, another Monday, hashtag bad hair day. Now, we haven't heard that term in a while. It's pretty much like cool beans, but anybody who saw that hashtag knew what I was saying. It added context to that post. No one's going to go look up who has indexed what other post, blah, blah, blah. It just was a ha-ha funny context for that particular post. And then help your target audience find you. If I am looking to do an event in the Akron area, you best believe I'm using hashtag Akron as one of my hashtags if I'm promoting the event. So I'm trying to find that target audience who is looking for that kind of content. Find me. All of these things sound great, right? But what should I post? So here are some questions to ask yourself before you post. Is this post something I would want to see? I will tell you, when I'm doing content for my clients, the first question in my mind when I'm putting it together is, if I was one of their prospective clients, would this drive me to make a move? And I will tell you this, it is much more difficult to decide that for your own business than doing it for someone else. When I write content for Glitter Media every month, it's the hardest content I write every month because I am so close to it. I always second guess. I always wonder, oh my gosh, will this resonate with anybody? Does anybody find this interesting? When I'm writing about one of my clients, I almost 100% know what would be engaging to me because most cases I am their prospective client. So I can write from that perspective, right? The next one, does this post speak to my audience? You should know what they like, right? You should be doing A/B testing. I did this kind of a post. It kind of got crickets. I did it a couple of different more times in different ways. I didn't get anything. Get rid of that kind of post for your audience. Clearly, they're not feeling it. If you do something that's fun and upbeat, and I implore you, do this. If you've got a lot of followers, and by a lot, I mean like more than 100, do a post asking people, because we're getting into the summer, do you prefer chocolate or vanilla ice cream? You're going to get interaction because people, A, have an opinion, and sometimes that opinion has nothing to do with the question you've asked. I will tell you, as a social media person, it always makes me laugh that when I post something like that, I'm going to have people that answer chocolate. I'm going to have people that answer vanilla. I'm going to have people that answer neither. I don't like ice cream, or I'm lactose intolerant. I'm going to have people that say, I don't like either one of these. I like strawberry. And it makes me laugh every time. We actually did a social experiment. I was sitting in a group and I said, here's what I'm going to do. I post 4 different kinds of breakfasts. I forget what they were. Pancakes, eggs, and bacon, whatever. I said, watch what's going to happen. We're going to have people that choose, one of the 4. We're going to have people that want to change one of them. Well, I like this, but I would take this out. We're going to have people that say, I don't eat breakfast. And we're going to have people that answer something that's not even on there. It literally took 10 minutes to have every one of those 4 things show up. So again, it doesn't matter what they say, even though sometimes you just want to go, would you answer the question? It doesn't matter what they answer. Try not to let it irritate you, but pay attention to the types of content that speak to your audience. Is this post on brand for my company? Don't post something because, wow, it just caught your eye. Make sure that it reflects your vibe, your corporate stance on things. Make sure that it is 100% reflective of the way you want people to feel about your brand, because I promise you, every post that you do feeds into that. And lastly, will our followers want to read more? This is huge. You have to keep them coming back. Getting them as a follower is simply not enough. You have to keep them looking at your content. So if it's the kind of content that will make them want to read more, you better believe they will keep coming back. Now, the example I always give of this, you guys can thank me later. If you are not following Wendy's on Instagram, go follow Wendy's on Instagram. I don't know who does their social. They need a raise. Their stuff is hilarious. I love it. If you like funny stuff, you will like the posts there. But that I associate with their brand now. Yeah, I love Wendy's burgers. I love Wendy's chili. But I really love their feed on Instagram. So just know, I follow them not because I could probably name you most of their products. I follow them because I want to read more of that kind of content. So just a heads up there. Posts that convey your vibe. And that can be anything, right? What do you want people to know you as? Are you friendly? Is your company friendly? Are you a creative? Creatives probably have the worst time posting because to them, it's almost never done, right? It's not creative enough. So you have to watch. Sometimes good is good enough. You don't need to, it's not the Sistine Chapel every time you put up a post, right? So just be mindful of that as well. We all probably want to appear as knowledgeable, right? If we aren't the person in our field, they will find somebody else. So let them know what you know. Hip, probably not part of my brand, but for a lot of people, that's important, right? Abercrombie back in the day wanted you to know they were hip, right? So just a heads up there. And philanthropic, if you're giving back and doing for the community, that's a huge thing to be sharing with your followers because they know, right? They will then know what causes you get behind. Use video. Now, here's the caveat. I'm going to give you the fact first, and then I'm going to tell you, I'm going to go against exactly what I said. Social media posts that include video have 48% more views than those that don't. That does not mean that every one of your posts should be a video. It absolutely shouldn't, right? You need to have a nice media mix when it comes to your content because some people really like static posts. They never look at a video. Some people only look at videos. That's their thing. But people like me like both. And if I look at your feed and all I see is video, especially here's the death pall. If every one of your videos has the same thumbnail, I think I've already seen it. So make sure you are mixing up the way your content looks. If I go to someone's YouTube page and they have the same opening card for everything, I tell them don't do it. Change the colors, change the graphic, whatever it looks like to let people know is something different. You need a nice mix, but that mix should 100% include video. And you don't need to be Peter Jackson to do a video for your page, right? Plenty of tools. You can do a video from your phone. I don't know about you guys. I have the iPhone 16 Pro Max and the camera on this thing is incredible. It's not like back in the day, right? When it was grainy and gross. These are awesome videos now. So just know you don't need to have the green screen full-on production video. And it doesn't need to be and shouldn't be super long. You are on social media. You've got a minute, 1 minute. It should be probably less than that. If you want to do long form video, you need to have a YouTube channel and store them all there, but only post clips and direct people back to your YouTube page, right? So just a heads up there on video. Here's some ideas for your video content. A new product, that's awesome. That's a great video, or a live, actually. A behind the scenes. I don't know about people in our area are very familiar with Stan Hewitt, Holland Gardens. It is an awesome Tudor manor that is right here in Akron. They do a tour that's called the Nooks and Crannies tour that sells out all the time because people get to see behind the scenes. They get to see things they don't get to see any other way, and they will pay a little bit more for that. That is awesome content for your brand. Any kind of special event you have coming up. I know that my friend Nikki, who's online, often does goddess nights for her business, The Artful Cricket. Awesome for her to put those out there. She always does a nice job marketing those. So any kind of special event is fabulous. An open house, ribbon cutting, anything that you're having at your location or even offsite is a great way to come up with video content. A new employee. What a great way to welcome them aboard, let people know what they can expect, where will they see this new employee, make them feel welcome, and let the general public know you have somebody else that will be lending a hand when it comes to their purchases of your products or services. And then shout outs, and we're going to talk about that. That is one of my absolute favorite things to post. Any kind of shout out that I can give for another organization, I feel like I'm trying to do them a favor and that they appreciate it. And I love it when people do the same for us, right? So, another kind of content, we'll get back to the shout outs here in a minute, but socially conscious marketing, right? We talked about recycling. We talked about, human rights, pride, that sort of thing. Thin blue line. People want to know what kind of a stance that you have if you are comfortable sharing that. Some people are okay with sharing it. Some people realize if I get too political, I am going to get rid of half of my built-in audience. And that's just the way that it is, right? Things can be very divisive. So just be careful. If you are choosing to put out content which picks a side, that's what you are doing. You are asking people to choose a side. So a lot of businesses will walk that line and just not post political things. That said, I don't know anybody who rallies behind not recycling or abusing animals. So there is still some socially conscious marketing that you can do without putting yourself in that kind of a position, right? Here's one. Montrose Cigar Wine Aficionado, my friend Fadia, always offers a 10% discount on military and first responders. She supports that kind of person. I think that's awesome, right? I think that's a great way to let people know what you do. Spotlight other organizations, business partners, people who can offer your clients another product or service, but does not compete with you, right? I'm in social media marketing. I only do social media, but I have friends who do websites. I can give them a shout out. It doesn't affect my income, right? Other than to reconfirm with my followers, I don't do websites, don't even do my own, but I know somebody that I know, like, and trust. And here is, a little bit about them. So not only do I get to make friends by, highlighting those that I work with, but I get to help my followers make smart decisions on who they partner with for different products and services. Nonprofit organizations. It has become imperative that we all do our best to give shout outs to the nonprofits that we are passionate about. Funding is getting cut. It's harder to find volunteers and donors. This is our opportunity to not even spend and put the spotlight on them that may put them in touch with their next prospective donor or volunteer, right? And local small businesses. I love this picture because my example is always, if you go somewhere and have a fantastic chocolate croissant and a cup of coffee, why not take 2 minutes and give them a shout out? Hopefully they see and appreciate that you posted about them, but B, your network appreciates that. The other day, it was silly. I posted a picture of me holding a grape that I got at our local Sam's Club. Again, not a small business, but local. This grape is like the size of a plum. They were huge. And I'm just like, look at these grapes, just because I thought they were delicious. One of my friends said, "Where did you get it?" I didn't even say where I had gotten it. So it wasn't even a true shout out. And then I said, "At Sam's Club." Well, she lives here in town. She goes, "I'll be going there soon." Well, great. I was able to give a business another, customer. And all I had to do was post something I was going to post anyway. So it's always fun to put the spotlight on other organizations. This is my friend Max. He owns Max Air Comfort, which does heating and cooling. Max, on his busiest day ever, was going to drop everything and come out and check out my heat because we were in the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program together. I gave him a shout out, even though I didn't even need him to come out because I was so thankful. He's an awesome company. He works so hard. I was thrilled to shine the spotlight on his company. And you'll notice that I even put his link to his website there. One of a Kind Pet Rescue. Anybody in the greater Akron area knows I am a huge fan. And I got my big boy, my cat Nico, from One of a Kind. So I will always repost or put posts up about the items they need. We can help. I am a huge proponent of helping these animals need, and whatever I can do. This didn't cost me a cent, but it let people know how easy it is to help them with either donations or coming in and volunteering to walk the dogs, anything that they need. Here's a question I get a lot. When is the best time to post? There's no big secret here, but I'll make it like it is one. The best time to post is when your target market is active on Facebook. Okay, let's say that you are company, and I had a client that did this before they decided to sell and kind of went out of business years ago. They sold products for teachers. You know, the bulletin board stuff, little educational toys, things like that. I promise you, the best time for them to post was not 9 to 2, Monday through Friday. Because conceivably, their target market wasn't even available to get online at that point, right? So it depends on the field. And I know depends is the answer, but you really have to think about your product and service and who your target audience is. Now, this is what Hootsuite will tell you are the best and worst times. They say the best day is Wednesday, so get out there and post after we're done. They say the worst day, and I believe this, is weekends, because we're all out running, right? And weekdays after 5 p.m. I scroll after 5 p.m. So again, I think it depends on your business, but this is the official answer. You can kind of take it with a grain of salt. Probably the question I get most, how often should I be posting? And again, it's kind of like asking, how long is a piece of string? It depends, right? But the big secret is as often as your market will bear. Okay. So that said, I do social media audits for clients who need that help. We take a look at what they are posting, how often, what platforms, what kinds of content, what kind of interaction are they getting, and we compare and contrast it with 3 of their competitors. I do all of the research through the report. I tell them, hey, if it's me, this is what I would be posting. Here are the platforms I would use. Here's how often we should be posting. Here are the hashtags and the keywords, all that kind of thing. But it depends on what business vertical is. I did an audit for a client who was a resale shop, consignment shop for women's clothing. So we took a look at her big 3 competitors in the area. Now, mind you, for her, it's imperative that it be geographically the competitors that are in her footprint because she does not do any shipping. You have to actually come into the shop and make a purchase. So we did that. One of her competitors, I'm not even making this up, I couldn't, posted an average of, this is an average, not a total, an average of 27 times per day. I almost fell off my chair. Now, this was why I got to use it as an example of what not to do. This particular company had over 30,000 Facebook followers on their page, which I thought was amazing. But she had been in business for 20 years, so that's great. Every one of her posts would get 1-2 posts max. 30,000 followers. Wouldn't you just want to cry if that were your business? I would. That let me know there is no way that their market is bearing all of those posts because people don't even know where to start. They don't even know where to start. It's like trying to drink from a fire hose, right? She could have posted an awesome outfit. It would have been lost in the feed because she posted, an average of more than once per hour per day. So just be mindful. You can post as often as your market will bear, and that means trying posting at different intervals. But here's a good overview. Shoot for posting daily, Monday through Friday. That's a lot. I have very few clients that I post for 5 times a week. It's usually not necessary, right? But go for quality versus quantity. It shouldn't be about the quantity. It should be about, do you have a quality enough post to speak to your audience today and how many other days this week? And keep an eye on your results. See how they are interacting. See which ones are working, right? You have to watch your analytics or you'll never know if it's working or if it's not. And yes, Heather, all of this sounds great. I have a business to run, so how do I get all of this done? There's the other big question, right? You're going to create a posting calendar and automate it, which means you are going to post 1 time per month to go out to all of the platforms you're going to go out to. Here are some different scheduling platforms that you can use. Most of them do have a free option, though you may be limited by the number of platforms you can post to. How often can you post on that platform? And how far out can you post? So you'll have to poke around, see which one is most intuitive to the way that you like to post, and find out what their limitations are. Okay, here's the tool I've been alluding to the entire time. I am the world's biggest Canva advocate. Please know I am not affiliated with their company, though I would love to be. So I'm not getting any kickbacks for telling you to use Canva for your graphics creation. It is a super useful and affordable tool for doing graphics. And that can be anything from social posts to whiteboards to creating a website to making PowerPoints, anything you can think of. There are already millions of templates set up for you in Canva. Now, here's the deal. You can use the free version. As a business owner, we know there are costs associated with doing business. There is not a day in this world that I'm more thankful to plunk down my $119 every year. I can tell you my renewal date for Canva is December 12th because I am always so thankful to give them my money. As a solopreneur, as the person who's the only person for my business who does marketing, it is $119 per year to have every template, every audio file, every tool in their toolbox for $119 per year. That's less than $10 a month. Spend the money and get pro. I promise you. Again, I get nothing for telling you this, but you're going to want all of the tools. I promise you. If you have teams up to 5 people, you can spend just $300 per year, and all 5 of you get all the tools. And this is beautiful, and thank you, Canva. If you are a not-for-profit organization, you get Canva Pro absolutely free. You fill out one form, it takes 5 minutes. It's fabulous. I know Laura's a user. I know that I will tell you this, I have a nonprofit organization and I won't even take advantage of the free account because it is so important to me to support this brand. I pay my $119 anyway. So just a heads up there. Canva is fabulous. Look at, Instagram post, Instagram stories, Facebook post, headers for your pages. Anything you can think of, someone already has in here for you to use right away. Okay, so check out Canva. If you've not checked out Canva yet, the good news is we're doing a workshop on that as well, though it will not be until September. Don't wait until September. Get in there and start playing with it now. It's fabulous. That is all I have. I wanted to leave a little bit of time for questions and answers, though I know you guys can reach out. Here's all my contact info. Would love to have virtual coffee with you. Happy to set up a time for a Zoom call, especially if you're not in the area. Here are my socials. Please feel free to follow me, and I am ready and willing to answer any questions you guys have right now.
Okay, does 1080 by 1080 pics also work for Instagram and stories?
It will work for Instagram, yes.
All right. Let's see. Facebook has a feature that tells you when your followers are most active. Does this help when deciding when to post?
It can, but know this. I always take everything into account. But you got to remember, when I post something, it literally goes to 8 platforms at once. So when people may be on Facebook, that might not be when they're on LinkedIn. So I try and just kind of gauge. I will tell you, for me, again, being a business to business organization, I can tell you early morning on LinkedIn is probably the best for me because people are in that mindset and they're already on the platform. So that's a me thing. I will tell you, for my business, Facebook does not necessarily drive business, which means make the phone ring. But I also promise you, people are going out to see if I'm posting. It's a legitimizing tool more than it's a sales tool for me on Facebook. That's just me personally, right? So it depends on what kind of business too, right? So yes, I would take a look at that. And again, do some A/B testing. Post when they're telling you that your audience is more active, and post on an off time and watch the difference, right? Do a couple of those because one time can be an anomaly. So just be mindful. You know what? For the next 2 weeks, I'm going to post when they're telling me is a good time to post, and then pick a different time and see what works. If there's any difference at all we can do is try, right? And sometimes you have to adjust the sales mid-trip because what we're trying to accomplish isn't working.
Okay, yes, you will get the recording. You guys will get the slides and the recording. Let's see. How do you decide what the meat of the post will be? Not just the hashtags. Like the message of a post, how long should those be?
Again, how long is a piece of string, right? It depends on the client. Sometimes it's just a quick hit post. Sorry guys, there's a sound behind me because at noon every Wednesday here in Fairlawn, they test the alarms. So if you heard that, apologize.
Mine's on Saturdays.
See, everybody has their own. So I will say you have to just be mindful of what are you trying to convey? How deep do you need to go? And again, keep an eye. Some of my posts tend to be a little bit longer than most because I'm trying to convey advice on what people can do for their own marketing without, necessarily having a call. So it depends. If it's a product, you don't need to give them every detail, right? Again, we're trying to direct them to our website. So it really depends on what the post is about, and what you want the end game to be, right? Do we want, is this directing them to a particular product? Do we just want them to click through? Sometimes I promise you, I see posts and I'm like, I am not reading 5 paragraphs of text. So I will either click on whatever the click through is, or I'm scrolling if it's something I'm not interested in. So there's no real way to tell other than to say, try doing a shorter one and see if that happens. Short is never bad. Long can be laborious, but it can also be very effective. So again, there's no way for me to tell you what it should be, other than to just say, try it all and see what works.
Okay, let's see. I was told that Facebook is for age 40 plus and Instagram is more for millennials. Is that true? Do you have any
I'm
tips on Twitter?
Okay, so first let me address Twitter. Unless you are an educator, someone who is on the news, or an elected official, Twitter's probably not your platform. It's kind of dead from an advertising perspective, and it's much more difficult to work with because, again, you only get those 280 characters, right? And that can be painful. Sometimes, I mean, short is fine, but sometimes short is too short, especially if you have links. So, unless you fall into one of those categories, I will tell you, I am only on Twitter. It used to be the only people whose Twitter I had sent directly to my phone was Motley Crue and Stephen King, and I don't even look at those anymore. So, just a heads up, don't put a lot of time into Twitter unless you are in education, someone who is in the news media. I do have a client who is the go-to when it comes to if there's an active shooter event, CNN calls him. So yeah, he has to be there because that's still the chosen platform for news media. But if you're not one of those two or an elected official, don't spend your time on Twitter. 9.99 times out of 10. Instagram does skew a little bit younger, but I promise you, I'm not a millennial and I'm on Instagram. My mother is not. My son is not. So again, we can make generalizations. It does skew a little bit younger, but just be mindful. If you're going to do content for Facebook, why wouldn't you do it for Instagram? They're the exact mirror of one another, right? So Facebook leads with a copy and supports with a picture. Instagram leads with a picture and supports with copy. So it's kind of saying, like it used to be when we were reading a newspaper. Yep, I'm sure there's people on this call who still have read a newspaper in their past. Some people would read classified ads, some people would display ads, meaning the picture ones, and some people would read both. I'm not ready to get rid of any one of those groups of people when it comes to my advertising, so I'm going to post on both. That's just me. I want to be in front of as many eyes and get as many at bats as I can. So that's just me to you.
All right. Is it helpful to share other relevant posts, or should I focus on creating my own posts? For example, I'm a
I
mobile vet tech
okay.
and I
Um,
follow lots of veterinary hospitals who post educational content. Should I share it and comment or make my own educational posts?
I would say for you, I would absolutely comment because A, it lets your prospective clients know that you're keeping up on all things veterinarian. And the veterinarian's office may be a referral source for you, but if people are following your business, they're interested in any kind of tips for pets. So I would absolutely share. But please know that's not your entire, and it sounds like you're already mindful. You're not going to just share. I have seen people make that mistake as well. At that point, people are thinking, do they not have anything to say? Are they just sharing? That's what I think, anyways. I don't know about you guys. So I would say once in a while, share. Absolutely. That totally makes sense, especially for your brand and your target audience.
The question is, I missed it. What was the social media posting calendar or automated that you can use?
Those they'll be in the slide deck when you get it, but it would be Buffer, Sprout Social, and Hootsuite. All three have platforms you can use to put together that posting calendar. And if you're only using Facebook, you can actually schedule in Facebook or Meta. I'm posting to several different platforms, so I'm not going to go into all of those and reschedule. I'm doing it from one third party posting platform.
All right, and last question for the day. Does content have to be different on each different social media, or can it be the same on each? Can you always
Can
post
add,
funny, relevant posts, or do you need more informative posts?
unless your brand is just funny, I would say you're definitely, as a business, going to want informative posts, and that does not mean you need to write different content for different platforms. That meme that I put up about Bernie went on LinkedIn. It was totally appropriate. It still was chamber centric, so it was okay. Just be mindful. LinkedIn is the most professional platform, so you're not going to be posting quizzes or goofy stuff on there. But sometimes it's okay, especially if it's reflective of your brand, right? Just make sure it's appropriate to a business professional platform. But no, you should absolutely be posting as a resource of your type of business as well. It can't always be funny, right? Sometimes it needs to be informative, and sometimes it does need to be that commercial. So just be mindful. I know it sounds like keeping a lot of plates spinning, but we have to be kind of a little bit of something for everyone, and at our core, be ourselves. So make sure that whatever you post is reflective of your brand and your vibe.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. Again, we will be sending out the recording and the slides as well later today or tomorrow morning.
And if you guys
Heather,
want to join us next month, give a shout out for next, so June 12th, which is a Thursday at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to talk about how to use Instagram to build your business. So if you are interested in learning more about that, we love you. And thanks again, Laura. You know, I get so geeked out talking about this stuff. I'm so appreciative that you have me in, and I'm looking forward to next month.
all right, everybody, have a good day.